when you won't forgive other people, other circumstances, other things, you're powerless. You totally gave away all of your power when you won't forgive somebody. Now listen closely. That doesn't mean that you condone what they do. It doesn't mean that you say what they did was okay. It has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with you. I want to start this out by very simply sharing with each and every one of you just a couple of simple thoughts, and then I'm going to share some real personal stuff with you, and then I'm going to share with it going forward. Now, I know that each and every one of you have a couple of unique things that you need to learn to do, and we all need to learn to do this, and that's forgive you. You know what I mean? We're going to talk about forgiving other people, but it's amazing to me how many people, and probably most people like me, are so good at beating the crap out of themselves. I mean, just flat out beating themselves up 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, while we're sleeping. It's like we won't cut ourselves a break. It's like we can't, I feel guilty for not doing anything yesterday, and I should have did this, and I should have did this, and, we should all over ourselves. Just stop beating yourself up. You know what I mean? You gotta stop shoulding all over yourself. Just stop it. Stop it. We're going to do a video here the other day. I shared with a few people about, Bob Newhart. Maybe you can find it on YouTube. You put in Bob Newhart and you put stop it. And it's amazing because we just got to keep getting us, right? So anyway, the whole point I want to share with this is a mentor and can really, really help you with this. Somebody that you got to reach out to yourself. We try to deal with these issues all by ourselves. And I know that I'll share a couple of quick stories with you and then go backwards a little bit. But I'll never forget there was one time where an airplane was delayed, and I even remember where it was, Salt Lake City, because this was a very strong, significant emotional event for me. I mean, one of those pops that I talk about, right? And one of the things that ended up happening is a flight got delayed in Salt Lake City, and I was going to head back to Montana. I probably was around the holidays, I'm sure. And my mentor, Bill Gould, was going to head on to San Diego. And the plane got delayed, so there we are. You know what I mean? And so I walk over to him, and for whatever reason, he probably not only wore out from the weekend doing a seminar, he's like Tony Robbins. He gives 1,001%, gives like 30 hours of training during a weekend. So I'm sure he was wiped out. I didn't know at the time, because I'd never done a full 3-day seminar, right? And I walked up to him, and as soon as I walked up to him and I said, Bill, I said, can I bother you? And he stood up and he got in my face. And he said, Robert, if you ask me again what you can do to get better, I'm going to punch you in the nose. And I was like, what? And he goes, listen, Robert, you're always coming to me. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing? Can I get any better? Can I do this? Can I do that? What can I do here? What can I do here? How can I, what could I do over here? I wish I would have done more over here. And it's like, he goes, Robert, you're always asking me all the time, what you can do to get better. He says, every one of us wants to get better. But you know what? If you don't take a minute, if you don't take a little bit of time and congratulate yourself for what you've done, your spirit, your heart, your mind is not you're gonna quit. You're gonna flat out quit if you don't find a way to reward yourself for doing what you've done up to this point. You gotta stop. And I was like, wow. And he says, listen, hold your arm up in the air. And I held my arm up. And he says, now reach behind and pat yourself on the back. Can you reward yourself, please? He says, I'm so tired of seeing you beat yourself up. You've never done anything good enough. And I was like, Wow. And he goes, if I was living inside your heart, your spirit, your mind, your soul, I'd quit. Because everything that you do, and you do good stuff every day, and you do more, listen to me, you do more than the average people out there. You got to say, good job. Man, I'm proud of you. Man, I love you. Good job. And it's like, wow. Wow. And I mean, it was one of those things where it just popped me and hit me in the head. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I still need to work on this on a daily basis. I still got to work on this on a daily basis. I still got to forgive myself. I still got to give myself a little credit. I still got to pat myself on the back and tell myself I did a good job. Because guess what? I'm just one of those personality traits that have been around a few people in my environment, my culture, and I'll share that with you next. And it was like, man, I just, if you never do anything good, never do anything good. And you never give yourself credit for anything. You never forgive yourself for not doing this and not doing this. And I shoulda. Again, shouldn't all over yourself. You gotta get that. You gotta get that. If you don't start rewarding yourself and forgiving yourself, how can you move forward? It's that whole concept that regardless of your spiritual beliefs, if you even believe that God created the universe and created everything, the concept is that if you're not grateful for what you have, how can you get more? If you're awful and I should have did this and you just won't cut yourself a break. So the first goal of forgiveness is not only just forgiving yourself, but then forgetting about it. Now, let me give you a couple of personal stories. I know that each and every one of you have heard of Oprah Winfrey. This is her story. This is not about whether you like her or not. But the key things that I've learned from Oprah Winfrey over the years is this concept of gratitude. You guys have heard me say this over and over again. She got a gratitude journal and she keeps writing things in there that she's grateful for when she gets up in the morning and also when she goes to bed at night. Now, some people just think this is hocus pocus and it's dumb, right? Try it for a year. Try it for 30 days. I promise you. Now, guess which ones are the hardest? See, if you're thinking about the God memorandum, again, you can look at some of my blog posts and you'll see that. And you're right, Carrie, it works. And one of the things that each and every one of you are going to see is now try to move from things that you're grateful to being grateful for who you are. Wow. Think about the gratefulness of being grateful for who you are and what you do. See, that now starts moving into loving yourself. You see what I mean? True forgiveness is incredible. But when you forgive yourself and forget, that's where happiness is. Everyone's constantly, all the time going, I just wish I was more happy and I'm depressed and oh, woe is me. And I get it, man. I get it when you live there. So now here's the thing that I want. Another thing as far as driving deep here is you got to understand another key principle is when you won't forgive other people, other circumstances, other things, you're powerless. You totally gave away all of your power when you won't forgive somebody. Now listen closely. That doesn't mean that you condone what they do. It doesn't mean that you say what they did was okay. It has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with you. So if you're holding anything against anybody, I'm good at holding grudges. I never forget. I'm like an elephant. You know what I mean? I'm going like, wow, really? So again, Oprah Winfrey's story. You guys may or may not know this, but, her parents pretty much she never really ever knew her father. Her mom sort of gave her away. Her grandma raised her. And then while her grandma's raising her, a family member rapes her and molests her as a little girl. Now, it's bad enough being abandoned by your parents, then being raised by your grandparents, and then getting molested as a little girl. But then she gets pregnant. She gets pregnant from that person raping her and molesting her. And then she loses the child. Now, I know a lot of you will say, you know what? My story's worse. All right, good for you. If your story's worse, good for you. You know what I mean? But if you know my story, man, I don't even want to go into it. You know what I mean? It's like, my childhood was just awful. And it's not just the abandonment stuff. It's the way that, that I was beat up and that I was, my father did awful things where he said, sort of like mental torture. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's the stuff that you sit there and you go, how do you get by that? Now, if you know me up until the time that I met my mentor, which Oprah met a mentor also, and then all of a sudden he taught me how to let it go. You're not calling them up and forgiving them. You're not saying, hey, I just wanted to know I forgive you, because most of them are clueless. See, they're so clueless with the stupid decisions they make, whether, my parents were alcoholics. So, it was a decision they made. They got to be responsible for the decision that they made. But what they did to me, I can blame on other things. The next step you do is you go down and you say, thank you on a piece of paper. You say, thank you for the experience. Thank you for the experience. Because. So I'll give you one that's crazy, my father not only abandoned me, but beat me up really, really, really bad, disappeared at the age of 13. I didn't see him since, right? So, you can forgive him, but then I write behind that, after I forgive him, then I write, thank you. Thank you to my father. Because it made me the person I am. It made me the father that I am. It made me the husband that I am. It made me the friend that I am. It made me the mentor that I am. See, if you really, 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 really want to totally destroy it and get it out of your life forever, you think the experience. You think the experience for making you who you are. Whoa. I mean, when I first heard this concept, so it was amazing. My mentor did a 5-day seminar. I write down all the resentments. I pour it out. They made you go face to face, and you're supposed to verbally, tell whoever you wanted to go after why you're mad at them, why they hurt you. And I'm telling you what, there were people that were holding me back from going after my mentor. He snapped me, it got in my face, and he said, listen, you're worthless, da-da-da-da-da-da. And a lot of people always ask me why I'm so motivated, why I'm so, I don't give up. And it was always this mental thing that I've done my whole life that I wanted to put together this little, I guess, resume or portfolio of things that I did to prove to him one day that he messed up. Now, here's what's crazy, that each and every one of you are going to be blown away. My father passed away. You know what I mean? So I don't know how or why, but, I got a call from a hospital, a veterans hospital in Texas, and it was saying, are you Robert Hollis? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, listen, is your father George Harris Hollis? Everybody called him Cal. You know what I mean? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, he died. Do you know of any funeral arrangements or anything that he had? And I said, why are you calling me? And they said, because You're the only phone number he had in his wallet. Wow. So, because I had already gone through this experience and forgive him, you know what I mean? Um, how long did he hang on to that piece of paper? And because of his culture, because of his environment, because of his pride, because of his alcoholic disease, that he always wanted to call me, but he couldn't. He didn't. He made a decision that he couldn't. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know how to repair that. And I'm like, wow. Does it condone what he did? No. Absolutely not. You know, I sit there and I think back of the stuff that he did to me, and the guy should have been put in prison. No doubt in my mind. But it was back in those days where people didn't say anything. You know what I mean? You know, the mental abuse, the physical abuse, the everything abuse. You know, enough for the government, you know, the state to take me away from my mom, from not protecting me. And see, I know that each and every one of you have incredible hurts and people have hurt you. You know what I mean? And things have happened in your life where you just feel like you can't let them go. And like the title of my book, I would very simply say to you, how is that working? How is that working? Everything that you've done up to now, regardless of your age, if you've always felt like something's holding you back, if you always felt like, man, I just don't know why this stuff isn't working for me. Because here's the problem with human beings. Human beings are not perfect. And here's another sad fact. Do you realize that there's people that hurt me in my lifetime and hurt you in your lifetime, and they didn't even know they did it? See, we think in our mind, they hurt us, and you know what, they did this and this and this, and they're so clueless, they're so, and I'm not trying to make names of them and stuff like this, but you know, the definition of a psychopath is they're not connected. They're not connected to even know that what they're doing to people is actually hurting them. Again, no reason to make excuses for them. You shouldn't make excuses for them. They made choices even if they chose to drink or do drugs or do whatever they did. The point of this whole exercise is you got to be able to think them. They don't have to be there. Can you imagine Oprah Winfrey calling up her family member that raped her and impregnated her and call them up and said, I just want to thank you for the experience. No, that's not what I'm talking about. This is something that happens within your spirit, your soul. You got it? And the last one, before I close this up, is regardless of who you believe in, religion, God, or whatever, there's this whole group of people, and I know this will talk to a group of people on this video, is that you blame God. You blame God. How could whatever you believe in, how could the universe, how could anyone allow that to happen to you? Whether it's someone that hurt you or a car accident or you lost a loved one. See, now people become extremely bitter because now you're holding something against something that some people don't even believe is there. So you're mad at whatever it is. And I'm going like, wow, it's bad enough that you can't forgive yourself. It's bad enough that you can't forgive other people and situations or the government did something. Oh my God, if they wouldn't have done this, I can't believe it. You know what I mean? And it's like we're constantly, every day, all day, blaming people, situations, events, and things out of our control for us being where we are. You got to stop it. You just got to stop it. Last but not least, once you forgive yourself, once you forgive others, once you forgive a higher power, once you forgive everything, your goal now is to thank it for the experience, let it go, and forget it. Stay in the present, move on to the future, and stay present, stay focused on things that you can create and become. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. Have a blessed day.